I think the most devastating thing when you're in the healing process from narcissistic abuse, when you're in the recovery process of healing from narcissistic abuse, is the recognition about how many people fell down on the job. How many people fell down on the job of adulting? How many people fell down on the job of parenting? The people in your life that were supposed to protect you, look out for you, take care of you, show you the way to go. Let me show you the way to go. Follow me, my friend. Ooh. The people that were supposed to show you the way to go, they didn't. I was saying to my daughter recently, Michael Jackson, he told the truth on every song that he said, they don't really care about us. And you can't win, child. You can't get out of a game. He told us the truth. But when I think about like all of the people that are supposed to love us and care about us and guide us and help us, and they don't tell us the shit we need to know. We don't tell kids that they can have bodily autonomy, that nobody has the right to touch their body, period. That they have to give permission, and that they don't have to give permission to anybody they don't want to, and really explain that to them at a young age. We don't give kids any kind of rights or choices, and we don't do that because we've not been given rights and choices, and so on and so on and so on. And so instead of trying to break that, right, and change the paradigm and change the way that works, we just keep the shit going. Like, I think about how many generational family curses and family dynamics I broke with my daughter. Well, number one, we don't even talk to our damn family because they a bunch of pedophile enablers, abuse enablers, narcissistic abuse enablers, borderline personality having drunks and people that have issues that are unhealthy and that don't align with our boundaries. So I don't even fuck with them. But even when I still did, right? Even when we still did all the family things up till 10 years ago, even when we still was doing all the family things, I still did not go with certain things. Like, I did not tell my daughter that if I call her name, if I say, hey, that she has to say yes. I never told her she had to say yes. Long as you respond and let me know you hear me. I don't care if she says what, hey, yo, yeah, huh. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't make a difference. But when I was a kid, if somebody called your name, you had to say yes. Otherwise, they would say you're getting fresh, you're getting smart. That's from slavery shit. That's from having to say yes, ma'am. The only difference is you don't got to say yes, ma'am, yes, sir, yes, mama, yes, auntie, yes, uncle, yes, whoever. Oh, I told my daughter she had to do that. So one time we were at a family gathering and we was walking somewhere and I said, Morgan. And she said, what? And everybody was like about to jump on that child. You don't say what to me. I said, hold on. We got different rules in my family. That might have been the rule when I was a kid. That might have been the rule when you was a kid. But I don't tell my daughter she have to say what. I mean, that she has to say yes, because it's stupid. She can say, huh, what, yeah. It doesn't make a difference. That doesn't make her love me any less because she doesn't say yes. When you put those kind of rules in place, all that does is create fear and unwarranted respect. And it makes you think somebody respects you because they saying yes behind their breath. They saying fuck you. Period. Oh, another explicit episode. Thank you for joining. I didn't even give y'all a little introduction. This is managing my own radical change. And so whenever I open up the episode and I'm talking about healing, that's what I'm talking about. But in this one, as you can see, I'm also talking about the process, right? And what that actually like looks like and what that feels like. And when you really have to break down and acknowledge that people who are supposed to love you, people who are supposed to care about you, people who are supposed to take care of you, that they didn't, that they left you hanging, that's a hurt piece. That's a hurt piece. And I'm not going to lie. It's a hurt piece. It's a hurt piece. It's a hurt piece. And we have to be able to admit that as part of the healing process. That's the acknowledgement part. So I have an ebook that you're going to learn about very shortly. If you don't already know about it, go to my Stan store and check it out. But this is all about the 6 steps for narcissistic abuse recovery. And this is what I use, and this is what I believe works. This is what I've used with my clients before I was even calling it narcissistic abuse recovery. I just was calling it steps to healing. And maybe that's why it wasn't working, right? Maybe because the word healing is too general and people don't know what they need to heal from. Well, we need to heal from abuse. We need to heal from abuse. And it could be physical, emotional, psychological, emotional, financial, but healing from abuse, recovery from abuse from others. And when we recover from the abuse from others, we won't abuse ourselves. We only abuse ourselves because other people have abused us. Boom. We abuse ourselves because other people have abused us and we think we deserve it. And since they're not doing it now, we're going to do it ourselves. And sometimes we think we deserve it because we couldn't fight off an abuser or attacker because we was a little fucking kid and we ain't know what to do. Give me a break. We saved ourselves. We protected ourselves. We still alive now. And if we got away from our family like I did, shit, that means they knew what we was doing. I knew what I was doing. And if you've saved yourself and you've protected yourself and you've gotten yourself to where you are right now today, you saved yourself, you protected yourself. And acknowledging what happened to you, that's the first step. That's the first step, acknowledging it. And it hurts like hell. And I hate it. I hate it. But I'm glad that at a young age, I said, I hate my mom. I didn't give a fuck. I said, I hate my mom. And I used to buy her, my family, you had to buy Mother's Day cards, right? And I had to buy my mom a Mother's Day card, even though she was abusive to me. I never bought her a Mother's Day card that said, I love you, ever. 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 And she used to buy me all these lavish birthday cards, talking about I'm so great, I'm so this, I'm so that. And I used to be like, well, you don't treat me like that. My mom used to do shit like, my mom has plenty of money too. This is why it was fucked up. My mom used to do shit like buy me underwear and socks and pajamas for my birthday and Christmas. Tidy whities for me to open up in front of everybody. Like it was a special present or something nice. Tidy whities is all she ever really did. And then when other people would buy me something amazing, like a Michael Jackson album or a record player or whatever, then my mom would come through with like one thing that was like super expensive that only she could afford it, And so she could be like, oh, well, I got her a watch. And the watch was, $200 or whatever the hell, something, whatever. So, like, it was always to show and it was always for something else. Like, I talked about how I had a birthday party. My first birthday party was I was inviting people from, like, the neighborhood in this big party. And I was having it at my aunt's house because my house was so dirty. And my mom just never would clean anything. So my aunt said I could have my party at her house. And my mom never mailed out the invitations. And then she laughed and thought it was funny. And then when only my cousins came to the party, everybody was like, you don't have no friends, you don't have no friends. And I was like, no, my mom didn't send out the invitations. Then my mom made it seem like, I should have sent them out myself. I was 10 at the time. So like that was the kind of bullshit that I grew up. And so when you start to line up those things one by one, and you start talking about them and you realize that that's the kind of treatment that somebody gave you, they ain't like you. They didn't like you one bit. They ain't like themselves. And none of that's your fault. So acknowledging that. But that shit is hard because you still have to say that this person is your mother. Well, your mother's supposed to love you. Yeah, who told you that? Hollywood told you that. The books told you that. Teachers told you that because they put teachers in charge of educating us. It's not true. The people that's supposed to love you are the people that do love you. Your mother is supposed to take care of you and provide for you. But shit, if she grew up in a fucked up environment, all she could do is the best she could do. Me personally, I knew that shit wasn't right and I wasn't falling for it. I think I have an anti-gaslight property inside of me. I'm an anti-gas. You can't gaslight me. You cannot trick me. I'm not the one. You cannot trick me. You cannot fool me. Not me. You can't fool me. You can't fool me. And even if I don't say something, the thing with me is, and I think this is because as a kid, I had to navigate and figure out how to disengage from these people. And I think in my last relationship, because it was a long distance relationship, when I would disengage emotionally, I was disengaged physically, so it didn't matter. I was disengaged emotionally most of the time. But then whenever we would talk, I would get psychologically re-engaged. And that's because the relationships was long distance, and this person was really, 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 really good at it. And so the way to get out of the relationship was to literally go no contact, because this person wouldn't, you can't gray rock with a person that is so psychologically manipulative that they could keep you on the phone for 7 hours. You can't gray rock a person like that. You can't gray rock a person that can keep you up, until 4:00 in the morning. You can't gray rock a person that will talk to you while you're on the phone having a Michelin star meal. You can't gray rock a person who will, keep you up all night. You can't gray rock those kind of people. You have to go no contact. And so when you get to the point where you're acknowledging the harm and the abuse and the things that people have done to you to emotionally manipulate you, when you think about the future faking, right? That's one of the traits of narcissistic personality disorder people. They future fake you. People with narcissistic personality disorder is always future faking you. They always telling you they're going to do something that don't never happen. And they always lying and lying and lying. And for long distance relationships, it's super easy for people to do it because they really don't never have to show up. So what they do is they then use conversation, long, deep conversations where they act like they spilling their guts to you and they listening and they doing all of that. And all of that is so that they can continue to suck you in psychologically into the relationship, because they can't really do it emotionally as often, and they definitely can't do it physically. Now, when you have the physical component added onto it, it will, if you're paying attention and you already knew that they were doing it, it'll make it super easy. So I remember, just literally being like, okay, well, I need to see this person in person, and making a meetup with the person. And then when I was in face to face with that person, they told me everything. They told me they was jealous of me. They basically, literally told me everything about themselves that I was missing in the long distance relationship. They told me everything about themselves that I was missing in the conversation. They told me everything that I knew, that I needed to know to end the relationship. And I was like super happy. And I tried to do it in a really gray, rocky type of way. And it sort of worked. I think it definitely worked because they knew. I think they knew after one of the conversations that, they probably shouldn't have said what they said, that, they didn't mean to say that shit. Or maybe they did mean to say it because maybe they was about to do the discard on me. But whatever the case may be, I don't think they meant to tell me they was jealous, because, I'm black and that person was black, and they know damn well what jealousy means. And you don't fuck around with nobody that's jealous of you. And I had already told this person about my 2-year threshold. So I'm sure that they probably thought that they might have been coming up on it, but I think they definitely thought that they was going to discard me first or something. But I don't know. Either way, I knew after our face-to-face encounter that it was a wrap. And then I just kind of put some things together for myself and then over the next 2 months after that, it was like, yeah, this is an absolute done deal. And that is my latest recovery scenario. So now I'm going on about 8 weeks where I'm just like, unpacking. And really it was easier to unpack that relationship and that abuse. Because it was mostly manipulation, future faking, and then the constant letdown. And then the gaslighting about the letdown or the severity of stuff, and the just ignoring me like when I really needed help, and just like never being there emotionally. And it was deep. It was really deep. But when I look at that, I can see the same exact patterns that happened in my childhood at such an early age that's why I don't have any. It was very easy for somebody to do that to me in my adulthood, because it's been my whole life. I'm not used to women really being there for me. Other than my grandmother and my best friend, my other best friend that died. But my grandmother, my best friend, it was everybody else was strangers. Everybody else was strangers. My babysitter, Mrs. Evans, Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. Thomas, Mrs. Dawson, Mrs. Cunningham. Those are all strangers to me. Those were all neighbors, and Mrs. Joanne, my neighbor on the block. All of those were strangers to me, was there for me more than my mom or anybody in my family ever was. My grandmother, she just died super young. And my grandmother, now looking back, I mean, she died from cirrhosis and all these medical complications because she was an alcoholic. And I think my grandmother was an alcoholic because my grandfather was narcissistically abusing her entire 40 years that she lived after they got married. And she had 5 kids in 10 years. And she had to live this, fake bougie black lifestyle. And it was fucked up. And the result of it was she had 4 narcissist daughters, and my mom was one of them. And I just happened to be born, an empath. I just happened to be born a person that is strong and that was not going to be gaslit, anti-gaslightable, right? I'm anti-gaslightable. You can't gaslight me. And, but I also started researching at a very early age, taking my cognitive learning and applying it to my life. When I knew that, no, something wrong with my mom, wasn't nothing wrong with me, I didn't let nothing she said didn't bother me. And I ain't let her hit me. Once I knew that this is child abuse and these 2 people are abusing me, once I knew I had the information, okay, well, I'm going to be taking care of myself. And I did. And I did a really good job because here I am today. Making podcasts, 5 podcasts a week, y'all. So make sure you download Managing My Own Radical Change and share it. This series is From Trauma to Transformation. There's going to be other series about all kind of things. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put some of these other series, if they're going to go in Radical Change Leadership, which is my other podcast, or are they going to go here and I'm going to do a special series because I have several different things I focus on. I focus on the workplace and talking about, strategies for surviving narcissism at work. I focus on technology and really technology optimization solutions and how do you really utilize technology to your own benefit, especially if you're a coach, consultant, a service paraprofessional, and if you are a content creator, you need to be doing things in a much, much different way. I can save you so much time and help make your stuff so much more efficient by helping you build your own app. So reach out to me for that. And when you're ready for some one-on-one coaching or you want to do some small group work, all you got to do is download Radical Change. Radical Change is the app. It's the app where leadership meets learning in a collective way. So I'm looking forward to seeing y'all on the next episode of Managing My Own Radical Change. And I want you to really start this work. Start this work by acknowledging what happened and who did it. Just acknowledge what happened and who did it. And you can take it one step at a time. If you need some support, get my journal. It's called Your First Job is Healing, and it's available on my Stand store, available on my website. Go to radicalchangellc.my.canva.site. All the things are there, and I'll see y'all soon. Thanks so much. I'm managing my own radical change, and I invite you to do the same thing too.